It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how is it going? And welcome to the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. It is Friday, May 3rd, and so happy for you joining us. We are ready to start another day together with the Lord. So subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So today we have an exciting podcast for you. We have Until the End with Daniel Baker, the Wednesday Message Word Study, and of course commentaries, updates, and news on what is happening around the world in this history today. All right, everyone. It is Friday. The weekend is here. I am so happy, but man, this time is going by so fast. I'm staying here an extra week, and if it's Friday, it means that I'm leaving in like 2.5 days, because Monday I leave like early morning. So, well, from the time this podcast comes out, it'll be Saturday, Sunday, it'll be 3 days. I got exactly 3 days before I leave back to Malaysia. Man, it is interesting to see how fast time is going, all the things that I've done, the people that I've met, the discussions, conversations. But yeah, I hope you guys are going to enjoy this weekend. Don't forget, we have Q&A Thursday like we had last week. There was like 11 questions, but very grateful and thankful for the people that send those questions. Get those questions ready for me. Send them to me whenever you can, even now, because I'll kind of like stockpile them and put them in for the next Q&A Thursday. And for today's video, if you haven't yet, leave a like and comment below to build our community, guys. This is how we do it. This is how we communicate. Because it is a podcast, it's not a two-way thing. It's a one-way thing, because I have none of you guys are in front of me, but you guys are able to comment, react on the different things that I do talk about too. So just super happy for everyone joining us every weekday on the Morning Star Drive. So let's get up and support each other each and every day. This week's Sunday message titles: Know how the work ends eventually, things will work out, and you will receive according to your deeds. And the second title is Learn from Me. All right, guys, Friday it is. The weekend's here. Wonderful, wonderful weekend. Super thankful for everyone joining us. This weekend looks really bright. Well, the weather is supposed to be pretty awesome today. At the moment, it's about 17 degrees. It's going to hit about 23 over here in Kumsan. And it's going to be a crazy weekend. I think I told you guys yesterday, it's Children's Day weekend, which also means it's a holiday. You get a day off. And I believe Monday is off. So it's like, it was Wednesday, which was Labor Day. So everyone got the day off. And then it's like Saturday, Sunday, Monday is a long weekend, but a lot of people do even take Friday off. So that's kind of crazy too. It's going to be crazy. I'm thankful that I'm leaving early morning on Monday. It's like a 7 a.m. flight, so I'm going to be at the airport by 5 a.m. Hopefully it's not going to be on Saturday, I'll head back to Incheon, and I'm really praying that the bus ride there is not going to be like a 10-hour drive like Pastor David Baker went through. Right now, I'm currently in the cafe that I normally record in Kumsan. It's called Tea Neda, and this is a place where Sunsim has a sign on April 29th, 2019. I'm looking at it right now. It's a poem, and it's written on like a slab of granite or something. And Sunsim actually wrote this cafe a poem, which is quite amazing. And these aren't even they're not even members, but I'm pretty sure that Sunsim did come here, and that's why he was inspired to write about this house. And even inside the poem, it talks about coffee. Look at the letters right now, but it's talking about drinking the coffee. 마시고 okay, so it's talking about coming in to this place for coffee and such. So it's like this place got an absolute blessing from Sunsim also. I'm comfortable in here. This is the room where the acoustics are the best because the wall is kind of wooden, so it takes in the sound. There's a lot of pillows. There's there's carpet in here and stuff like that too. There's a room that I recorded yesterday, but you can hear a little bit of echo because the room is more like just windows, a very, very thin curtain, which doesn't absorb sound, and there's no carpeting. But here, carpeting, couches, wooden walls, pillows everywhere. And this is why this room is like the best room to record in. So that's why I'm thankful that on this Friday, which will be my last recording here. It will be my last recording here in Kumsan because tomorrow I'll head over to Incheon and then I'll record either at the Baker House or maybe go to some cafe. Not sure which one I'm going to do, but I'm definitely going to be there for that. Yeah. Wow, my trip is already coming to an end. Last podcast here in Kumsan. One more podcast going to be done in Incheon, and then the rest will be back in Malaysia. So very, very thankful, very happy for this too. Cool comment that came out, and I think it's a good comment that everyone can look at. And this, because there's a lot of new listeners to MSD. These are some of the questions I do think that are very good questions. Like these are questions I look at and say, yeah, I think these questions have been talked about before, but that was like a while back, right? So getting this comment was really, really good because it's going to remind everyone of why or what what this channel is about and the difference between this channel, MSD, and For the Rebel Pastor. And good questions here. So it's a long question from the seer, and she wrote, there's a couple excerpts I do want to talk about. First one says, I talked about yesterday, I was talking about the calling, right? That God gives a calling to people. It says, many were called, but few were chosen. You know why I care so much about the faith stars, because they choose God over themselves, their love life, career, marriage, to fulfill his will and be his body, to shepherd his people, okay? Now, this is the part that I think could be misunderstood. I'm not going to say that this was the intention, but this could be misunderstood. The seer wrote, and those not chosen are probably those who can't let go of themselves, not capable enough, burn out, have people problems, so and so. And I'm going to say this could be misunderstood because it's saying that only good people are chosen and the rest are not good because they can't control themselves. They can't let go of themselves. They're not capable enough to do it. They're the ones that burn out, and they're the ones with people problems. However, if we were to really take a look at those that are chosen, or like those that do get called, are you saying that they came into the position capable enough, or did they have things that they lacked? Did they burn out or not? Many people who ran full-time have burned out. Do they have people problems? Many have people problems. So and so. So I would say that the people who are called and not called, I don't think there's a difference in burnout, can't let go of themselves, not capable. I don't think that's the actual difference, right? Because, if you look at it this way, that people not chosen have all these issues and problems, that's like saying that all the people that were chosen don't have these problems. But the reality is they do have these exact same problems, right? So my point, like yesterday when I was talking about people being chosen by God, like the ones that not chosen, but the people who are getting the calling, is not about who is better, or it's not about who is more capable, right? It's more about the will of God, right? So someone who has received the calling, it's not about whether they're a star or not either. Like I just told you guys yesterday that one of the largest churches in Korea, which is Kwangmyong, just got a new head leader, which is a blessed family male pastor being appointed to one of the largest churches in Korea. It's a blessed family, right? So the calling that I know of is only about the will. It doesn't mean that they're more capable. They can handle it more. It means that there is a will for this person. And the one thing Sansim said, I talked about this the other day too, is when someone is given a mission, they are given the power to do that mission, which means it means that by themselves they cannot handle it, but with God they can. Right? So some people have that will and some people don't. It doesn't make them better or worse. It's just whether there's the will. And that's why I want to address that this could be misunderstood. I'm not saying that this was the intent of the seer. Right? It could be misunderstood as a comment. And I'm not going to say that they meant to hurt people. Obviously, they don't. But it can be taken that way. So that's one thing I do want to clear up. That I was not saying that. I was totally not saying that if you're not called, it's because you can't handle it. It's because you're not capable and stuff like that too. Because I do think when I look at myself, there's no way that I was fully ready. And there's many things I was not capable of doing. Many things that I looked at other people who were not called to look at and say, oh, they could have done it way better than me. There's people I looked at and say, yeah, they probably could. The next thing was about the podcast. It says about the Rebel Pastor. I think Rebel Pastor will go even more fun if you join the chat. There is more flexibility if you pre-record. There is no need to constantly interact with the audience since there is delay anyways. Of course, everything has their good and bad points. Time and content matters. 9 a.m., it's not good time for me. People can be in the office. People can be in school. I'm personally still sleeping. It's not convenient. But if your target audience is the U.S., then it's another story. Why not stay in the U.S. to do it in U.S. time and talk about their topic that is more close to their daily life? I think the cultural differences is still there. I'm not calling you out. I mean, stay close to them to be more relevant. If you do it in Malaysia, why not focus target audience in the Asian country? But then will English and timing be an issue, right? So first is, this is basically preference and opinion. So this is the seer's preference or opinion about it, right? So there's no right or wrong. It's their opinion. I'm cool with it because people can say whatever they feel is best. Okay, so I have no problems with the comment. Number two is on YouTube right now there are two different sides. There is the live stream, and there is the pre-recorded, and both of them are being done, right? And there's pros and cons for both. It's just about preference. This person might say they're not watching live, so they would probably prefer to do it not live, pre-recorded. So preference is just preference. So this is what that person prefers. I prefer something completely different. I have a little bit of both, right? And the third thing is time is because I've said this before when I started. When I changed the time in the second episode, which means about 6 weeks ago, this was brought up. My audience is the U.S. and Canada. It's the English world. To get the world is to do it there. And of course, if it's 9 a.m. in Malaysia, 10 a.m. Korea, it's true. People here are not going to be able to listen to it live, but the people in the U.S. can. And it's just going to and if I do it at Asia time, then the people in the U.S. can't listen to it because it's going to be in the pre-dawn time, whatever it is, right? So it's just about my target audience, which is the U.S. and Canada, right? That's my target, right? So do I need to be in America? No, I don't. You don't need to be in America for me to do it for Americans. And yeah, it doesn't really make sense because then you would have no such thing as a digital nomad, right? Knowing about what's going on in America, you don't need to be around the people. There's news. There's people that I talk to. And since my channel topic is religious, it's spiritual, it's even less. There's not really a huge thing I have to look at and say, oh my gosh, this is what's going on. No. I don't think I need to be there to do it. My target audience is there, and I can be anywhere I want in the world as long as I do it at the right time. That's what a digital nomad really, really is. Okay? There's another question in there that I saw. The next question, the next thing that they wrote about is about the purpose of the Rebel Pastor. They're like, so what is the purpose of the Rebel Pastor? One second, let me find this. Oops, I didn't write it down. Okay, so let me get into the quote. I have it right here with me, right? I have right here in front of me. Let me just open it up here. Okay, oops. So one of the questions that was asked is it seems like some of the content is overlapping with MSD and such, which is true. And one second, I'm just pulling it up right now. Okay, so it says here, content-wise, I personally feel that there is a lot of repeat content from MSD. Will it be better if it's an interview session or other people's story in Providence? And what is the purpose of Rebel Pastor again, since you have MSD and MSD is more well-built? And the conversation of Rebel Pastor can't directly reflect to physical churches like you have MSD and Patreon already, right? So here's another one. So what is the purpose? So this is a good question because some people who've come here really, really late or are new to it may not have heard this 6 or 7 weeks ago, right? So remember, guys, the Rebel Pastor and MSD are completely separate. They are completely separate. Why? The audience is different. MSD is for members only. Only members listen to MSD. No one else is going to listen. I don't put any keywords. I don't promote that channel at all. It's only for members. MSD is only members, so that my content is the word study, all these are different things, right? The Rebel Pastor is it's an open channel. It's to the world, right? So it's a content for any Christian, anyone of faith. They can all listen to it. And that's why it's very, very easy to have content cross over from MSD to the Rebel Pastor, right? The Rebel Pastor is for newcomers. Like, you can invite family, friends, they can all listen to it, but family and friends are not going to be listening to MSD, and that's why the only people are going to see the cross content is going to be those that listen to both MSD and the Rebel Pastor. But the audience target is completely different. MSD is only members, and the Rebel Pastor is for everyone in the world, right? So, right now there's a lot of people supporting both channels. They're gonna listen to some crossover. That's gonna be normal, right? Because the assumption is in the future, the vast majority of people signed up to the Rebel Pastor are gonna be non-members. Like, I'm gonna say that 99% are gonna be non-members. 99%. Right? Very few are going to be members that are going to actually be supporting it in the future, right? Like, think about this. Do you think on the Rebel Pastor channel, I'm going to talk about 2023 and KJS and Sunsteam? I don't, because it's not for members, right? So I have talked about the purpose of the Rebel Pastor channel before, and even like a couple of years back, but I know that not everyone listens to every single podcast. So, it's a good reminder that this is the difference between the two. There is going to be crossover, yes. It's for a different audience, completely different audience. It's a worldly channel, not worldly, but the channel for the world, and then they have a member channel, right? Rebel Pastor, sharing faith, right? Content will overlap. It will repeat, right? Audience is different. So Rebel Pastor is there for you to share with your newcomers, friends, and family. I already know some people who are listening to it with their parents, their aunts, and whatever else like that too. So these people on Rebel Pastor, they will never listen to MSD, right? And yeah, like I said, I don't need to be in America to do a channel in America. I don't think I need to be close to America either, especially when my content is about religion or sharing about faith in the Bible. There's not really much I have to go into the cultural life of an American. Like, I don't need to do that, right? So we have the internet, we have all the news, everything else. I know people all over America, stuff like that too. There's news, there's Instagram, TikTok, they're all out there. So to say that I have to be in America to make a channel for America, I think it's kind of like more of an old school thinking, right? If I live in Malaysia, I have to do things for Asia? No, I don't. No, I totally don't have to. That's why you have a lot of expats who are living in Malaysia, right? They don't have to. Doesn't mean that they're doing everything for Malaysia, right? Next question is a big one because it's a little bit sensitive topic of money, right? And this is something been open about in the past too. Is it really okay to monetize on God and his people by sharing your grace and experience from God? Will it slowly lead to another trap by Satan we don't foresee now? What if one day you care more about being famous and monetize from all these than God and then God is supporting? I didn't get that part. Just be very careful on your purpose, objective, guard your heart. Online ministry has so much good, but also has the equal downside. Okay, all right. And as an investor or businessman point of view, if the return is way lower than what you invest in, time, effort, money, etc., for a certain period of time, it's just not working. Maximum 6 months. You will see it. Trial and error is still the same. Then you should know when to cut loss and move on. The faster, the better. Hedge. Don't hinder your success, right? So very interesting here. A couple points here. First is it okay to monetize on my experiences or on God or God's people? Okay. So this is a very, very interesting question. So let me ask you this question. Is it okay for Sunsteam to sell shirts or mugs with his signature on it? Is it okay for him to sell paintings? Is it okay for him to monetize on what he's making? Because do you think that he's making zero profit, or do we need to make profit so that we can help run Wolmyeongdong? Do we need to make profit so that the people who are making the mugs and stuff like that have to get paid? Right? So if we're going to say that, okay, so you shouldn't monetize on God and God's people, then shouldn't we be doing the same with all the stuff that Sunsteam sells too? Right? Like stuff sold in Wolmyeongdong, the new albums, new songs, right? New t-shirts, Sunsteam sign, all these things. Should none of them be sold then? Would we be saying the same thing against them? Right? Now, Are we also saying that if God has given us these realizations, or God has given us these experiences, or this stuff all done with God, should we not get paid for it? And then I would bring the question is, then wouldn't that be the case that every person who is a head leader shouldn't get paid? Or every person who is like lecturing in this, like should they not expect any pay whatsoever? Or is that going to be a normal thing, right? So if our experiences with God cannot be monetized, do you think that pastors, head leaders, full-timers, workers in the church should not get paid? If what they received and gained is all from God and shouldn't be monetized, should everyone who run in the church do it for free, right? So I would say, what is the difference of being monetized on YouTube or Patreon and getting paid to pastor or paid to lecture, paid to give lecture training, paid to do all these other different things? Should everyone who work for God do it for free? And the answer is pretty obviously in the Bible. Everyone gets paid. Everyone does. Even the Levites. The Levites were the one tribe that did not get an inheritance. They were the priests. They were considered the priestly tribe. But even they got money and they got food from the sacrifices given to God. It was all allotted to the Levites. Why? Because they're doing the work, right? And if you look at the way Paul said it in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 3 to 12, this is what he says. He says, "This is my defense to those who sit in judgment on me. Don't we have the right to food and drink? Don't we have the right to take a believing wife along with us, as do the other apostles and the Lord's brothers? Or is it only I and Barnabas who lack the right to not work for a living? Who serves as a soldier at his own expense? Who plants a vineyard and does not eat its grapes? Who tends a flock and does not drink the milk? Do I say this merely on human authority? Doesn't the law say the same thing? For it is written in the law of Moses, do not muzzle an ox while it is treading out the grain. Is it about oxen that God is concerned? Surely he says this for us, doesn't he? Yes, this was written for us because whoever plows and threshes should be able to do so in the hope of sharing in the harvest. If we have sown spiritual seed among you, is it too much if we reap a material harvest from you? If others have this right of support from you, shouldn't we have it all the more, right? Which means that, like, think about this. If you think about it this way, if people are doing physical work and they get paid, right? But then we all recognize and acknowledge that spiritual work is even that much greater, that it brings salvation. That if we do spiritual work, shouldn't we get paid even more? Or like, shouldn't we have the right to get paid more than someone who does physical work, which is not even as important? You know what I mean? So this is something that was answered long time ago, right? So that's something is, monetizing on this type of stuff is kind of a normal thing that the whole world, even Providence, is doing, right? It was normal. So I don't think that monetizing is considered a sinful thing, right? But I kind of get where this questioning comes from, because this question's not, I don't think it's so much about should we monetize. It looks like from the comment that it's more about the risk of getting corrupted by money and fame, right? Now, is there a risk? Absolutely. Does that mean I'm going to get corrupted? No. This would be under the assumption that I'm pretty much guaranteed to get corrupted from it. Can I get corrupted? Absolutely, right? So my question to you would be this. If there is a risk of something bad happening, does that mean we should not try at all? And the answer is no. If this is the case, then no one would do anything, because there's a risk in every single thing that we do. How many things in your life do you not have a risk? How many things in your life would you have even tried if your whole purpose was to avoid risk, right? It's part of life. It's part of doing this. It's part of doing anything. I don't think that's a reason not to do something, or to say that. I personally say to myself is, there is more risk of me being corrupted if I don't get paid. Now, what does that mean? Well, here's the studies when it comes to motivation. If you don't get paid enough, you have less motivation. If you don't get paid enough, you're more likely to commit crimes to get paid, because you're not getting paid enough so that you can't live. If you have enough, this is when people become motivated to do their work better, right? So what I'm trying to tell you guys is, it sounds really counterintuitive, but the best motivation is you give someone enough money to live off of, and when they have enough, this is when they do better in their work. If you give them less than what they deserve, or if you give them less that they can't live off of, then they're more likely to become corrupted, more likely to do bad things, to gain more money, to steal money, or to do these other different things like this too, right? So it's kind of counterintuitive. It might seem, it sounds like the opposite, but it's not, right? So that is something I do think that we all have to take into consideration, right? So I understand where the thoughts are coming from, because it's out of love and care. So that's why I'm not sitting here like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with you? No, this is out of love and care. And it's good that everyone hears this. Now, the last part I probably say is this person brings up business into it, getting more out of it than you actually give. But I think it's kind of like, it's kind of a contradiction that there's a talk about should I get monetized or not, and then later talk about cutting your losses and not getting out of it more than I put in, right? So let's just say that I put in all this work, 5 podcasts a day, plus I do a live stream, plus, working on, just working on the content of what I'm doing, right? If I do all these things and yet I get zero pay from it, I don't monetize from it, I'm going to automatically at a certain point say it's not worth it because I can't even live my life. So I'm going to cut my losses probably within 3 months because it's not worth it for me anymore, right? So, if I look at it this way, part of it has to do with the finance. And it would be hard for someone to say, should you monetize? And then right after say, oh, when you think about business, you got to cut your losses. If you don't get as much as you put in, then it's not worth it. You should cut it out. Right? So I would say that would be kind of a contradiction to talk about 2 things like this, right? So a couple things that I know from YouTube is Joe Rogan is the biggest podcaster in the world at the moment. And in his in a recent interview, he said that he never started making money until 5 years into his podcast. It's just something he wanted to do. And because he wanted to do it, he put his time and money into it, right? So, it's learn as you go. I understand, if anything, I think the easiest way for you guys to think about this when it comes to me monetizing, you're not paying for God's grace. You're not paying for what God has done in my life. What you're actually paying for is time and effort I put in to make this stuff. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing that we're really paying for is the effort, right? The effort, the time, the money I spend on equipment, the money I spend, the time that I put into this every single day. That's essentially what you're paying for. You're not really paying for what God has done, right? You're only paying for the effort I'm putting in to make this every day, an hour podcast 5 times a week, a live stream, right, on Wednesdays, cutting up and editing the videos and the shorts and this and that. Those are what we're paying for. It's totally not you're paying for what God is doing, right? So you got to think about it in that sense and not in are you just working off of God's people to pay for this and that? The answer is yes and no. But if someone's going to put their effort in, that's why, do you think a praise leader shouldn't get paid? In large churches in America, or even in Korea, in Providence churches, the praise leader gets paid, right? They get paid. And of course, the churches aren't that big and they don't make that much money. And that's why they're going to get paid like $1,000 a month. But even in Christian churches, being a praise leader in those large churches is a full-time job. And they're getting paid $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month. USD, right? So we need to understand that this is something that is normal and it's part of life, and we're living in the physical world and people need to live, right? So one thing that I am very thankful for about doing stuff on YouTube is YouTube has very low barriers and low investment in money to start, right? So that's why for me, I am very grateful and thankful and super thankful to this year. Appreciate the thoughts, the candor, and I also realize that these things too, and I realize the risks and everything else, and I'm perfectly fine with the risk. Can I 100% guarantee that I won't get corrupted? I could say it with my lips right now, but I don't know what's going to happen down the road, but that's part of the risk we take. right? So I am thankful, grateful for this because it kind of reminds everyone of, there is risk involved in everything, and I have to do things the right way. I have to make sure that I am spiritual and do things in a way that will very, very much, I have to do things the right way, right? So I think it's something that we have to put our hearts and our minds into, pray for. I think especially if there is a risk, that's why I need your prayers. I don't need just my own prayers. I need your prayers for me so that I don't get corrupted, right? So I don't start going towards the physical. Like I heard, we have that Netflix lawsuit, right? We have the Netflix lawsuit that came out against in the U.S., right? Like that is something that I'm so grateful and thankful for that we're doing. But, there was an attempt to do it in the past. People in the past actually tried to start a lawsuit with Netflix, and guess what happened? Some people tried to gain benefit from it, that whoever wins the lawsuit, that they would get the money instead of Sunseam getting the money. Like, who's the one being wronged? It's Sunseam, right? But money comes into the picture, and it's a big thing, right? So, it's something that can hurt people, and I understand this, and there is a risk. So my biggest thing I can ask for you guys is please, please pray for me, okay? So yeah, I'm very, very grateful and thankful because we have more people coming out with content. You heard yesterday about the Absolute Faith Within podcast on Spotify. That's with Kara and Eric over there in Los Angeles. That podcast is going strong right now. Like 4 or 5 episodes come out. And also just came out with the Sunday Boys is a brand new album. I can't believe it. 20 tracks on this full album. I'm going to play a brand new song for you. I just talked to Andrew right before this podcast, and he says, the next song you should play is called Dancing in the Rain. So I'm going to play this for you guys, all right? So let's get into the first break of the day. This is the Sunday Boys new album. This song is called Dancing in the Rain.
Y'all ready for this?
Shown you love me with things you've given. You know I love you, I'm already singing. Got the stories that we have together. It's here forever. It will only get better from now on. Everything that you've given, I'm so grateful. Let me show you my love, 'cause I'm so thankful. Let us dance on the streets, let us rock to the beat. Show me how you feel about me, watch me move my feet. You're always on my mind, I can feel it in my heart. Everything's alright, 'cause you're not so far. Please take my hand and love me through a dance. I wanna show you my love, so give me a chance. We have stories of joy and pain, but that's okay, 'cause that's like dancing in the rain. And I will say it again, I'ma dance with you.
I'ma dance with you, I'ma dance with you. We can move to the beat, our love so complete. I'ma dance with you, I'ma dance with you, I'ma dance with you. We can groove to the beat, our love so complete.
You've shown your loving, you gave me a chance. And with the mistakes I've made, I've never fallen away from you. Though times are rough, it'll be okay, 'cause I am never, ever, ever gonna leave you astray. Ay, thunderstorms are a little scary, but with you, I won't feel weary. Even on cloudy days when skies are gray, my heart's a cave. The sun will shine through the rain today. Let us dance on the streets, let us rock to the beat. Show me how you feel about me, watch me move my feet. You're always on my mind, I can feel it in my heart. Everything's alright, 'cause you're not so far. Please take my hand and love me through a dance. I wanna show you my love, so give me a chance. We have stories of joy and pain, but that's okay, 'cause that's like dancing in the rain. And I will say it again, I'ma
All right, so let's get into our second segment of the day, which is the Wednesday message word study. We do this every single Friday. The title for this week's Wednesday message is exactly the same as the Sunday message. Know how the work ends eventually. Things will work out and you will receive according to your deeds. And of course, the second title is Learn from Me. As going over the Wednesday message, it's very interesting to see, especially after yesterday's Q&A, the question was asked about, there's so much stuff about people who left, people who betrayed, right? And once again, this Wednesday, there's a lot of this, Sunseam talks a lot about these people who betray, the people who are in Providence, pretend to be in Providence, but they are like giving information with their own thoughts, things that are not even true to the slanderers, right? So as I listened more and more to it, I talked about this yesterday too, is if we're centered on ourselves, then if we centered only on our world, it's very, very easy for us to look at like, why is he talking so much about this? It's so scary. It gives me more fear. However, being in a relationship with God, we have to realize it from two aspects. Why are they telling me this? And like, why is this so important that's constantly being repeated over and over again? Right? And you get more of an idea of the Shimjung of the Lord when you listen to these types of messages. And you can see two things are happening at the same time. Number one is Sunseam's trying to help us. So through the message, we are realizing, wow, there are some spies are people who are pretending to be in Providence, but they're on the other side. Right? So that's helping us because now we know that there are people inside Providence who are hurting Providence too. They're the ones giving the information to the people outside. Right? So it shows that he knows that, it's helping us so we realize what's going on inside of Providence, but it's also a warning for the people who are doing it, where Sunseam's saying, I know exactly what is going on, and I even know who is actually doing it too. So it's kind of like when you look at it, it's showing mercy and it's showing mercy without outing them either. Because just kind of like remember the Mafia Telegram thing that Sunseam talked about in the past? I found that very interesting because Sunseam said that this group has been around for more than a year, which means that he didn't out them. He didn't kind of say, hey, he didn't call them all out over the message for over a year. He could have easily done something earlier, but he didn't. Right? And if you think about it, if it was us, we would probably call them out way earlier, like after the second month or the third month. But Sunseam, one of the questions people ask is like, well, Sunseam knew that this stuff was going on. Why would you wait so long before you actually talk about it? Right? And if you think about it, it feels like a type of dilemma that a parent would have with their own children. Like, let's just say your children committed a crime. Your child commits a crime, and if the police find out, they go to jail. But you know that they didn't. And the dilemma inside your head is, this is your own child, right? So it's not so easy as to just look at a stranger and say, oh, look, they did it. They should go to jail. This is your own child. And you don't want to see your own children suffer, especially going to prison. So you see, it's a love dilemma. And you can't help it. The parent will wait until the very last minute before making that final decision of whether to out their own child, right? So when you look at the message, these are talking about people inside Providence that are living just like those who left. But Sunseam's always saying to these people, you can tell, Sunseam's saying it's bad. Betrayal, it's bad, it's bad. But several times in the message, it's always, but you can still come back if you repent, right? Repent and you can come back. So there's the thing when you look at it and say, oh, so it's not just him saying like, oh, you guys are bad, but he's always leaving it out like, hey guys, I know what's going on. And I know if you have a conscience, you know that you're doing something wrong. You know how upset God is right now, but you can still come back. So you do see that Sunseam is not just telling these people, bad, wicked, God is angry, God is this or that. It's more of, hey guys, I understand what's going on. I know what's going on. I know what you've done, but I still love you. And there's always a chance. It's almost like that hand reaching out, right? That hand reaches out, and if you grab the hand, you can come back. And I looked at that as more of a loving thing. that a lot of times we'll look at the message and we'll only look at the judgment part of it. Like, oh, judgment, judgment, judgment. Oh, you're betraying. Oh, God hates this the most. Oh, this, oh, that. And we're like, oh, this is so, it's so harsh. But then, even though it's so harsh, since we're so focused on the judgment part, we kind of miss the mercy part where Sunseam in the message is always like, but you can come back. You can come back. You can repent and you can come back. And I thought that was a very moving and inspiring part too, that we have to be able to catch also, right? One of the big, but there's some other points in the message like it doesn't matter how big or great or how small or whatever it is you are, what your age is, it's always about whether you take action or not. Right? And one of the funny things was, like, it's exactly what happened to me this morning. When the Holy Spirit said, when you need to wake up for pre-dawn, if you don't want to get up and lay still, only trying to get up in your mind, then you won't be able to actually get up. Nothing will work out, even for a king, right? So I'm just like, that was me this morning. So I was just like, yeah, sometimes we sit there lying down and we're only fighting in our heads with ourselves, right? We're fighting, So I looked at that, I was just like, yeah, that was me. Forgive me. I was like, there was another part that, there's one, remember the part I was talked about before of there are people that, they're giving information to the people that left, to the slanders and stuff, and then these people are putting it onto like news channels and stuff like that too. The thing that's so off for me is that the info that they give isn't even correct. You know what I mean? Which for me, that makes it even worse. What does that mean? It means like, even for me, remember last year how careful I had to be with what was happening with KJS last year in March? It was very careful. Like, guys, I don't know what is true yet. We don't know if this letter is true. We don't know if this is true or not, right? Oh, Sunseam wrote a letter. We don't even know if it's Sunseam's letter or not, right? So the thing is, this is one of the problems that all of us have is sometimes we just don't check completely. And since we don't check, we just believe whatever is said. So here's two problems. Number one is when people don't check before they don't check to see if something is absolute, like, oh, it's been checked. If you don't check and you just give the information to someone else, that means you made the mistake of not checking. However, the second mistake that happens is it's the people listening will hear it and they think it's true and they don't check it either. So that's why it has to be checked, right? The second problem that I see is the info that these people give to those that have left. They're not, not only is it not checked, but on top of it, they will put their own spin or perception or opinion onto that in a very, very negative way without really knowing the full answer. And that causes more problems. And then people think that that is true too. And I would say the final nail in the coffin when you know that something's really off and wrong, it seems like, oh yeah, by the way, I told these people not to do it and they still do it. They're disobedient. They're not even listening to me. Like that would be the number one sign that there is a massive problem. Like there's something wrong with these people. There really is, because if they're not even listening to Sunseam, that is a huge thing that people have to understand. So, I like how Sunseam is very transparent. And he's just like, hey, let me tell you the reality of the situation, right? These things are being cleaned up one by one. And Sunseam is showing everyone, he knows exactly what is happening. And he probably even knows each person who's giving out the wrong info and such, right? And one thing I find very interesting though is, here are these people complaining about Providence or things that are happening in Providence. And you say you're doing it to help Providence, but how could that be helping Providence if you take information and give it to the slanderers and give it to the news agencies? How is that helping Providence? How is it helping Providence where, like I said before, is you don't even listen to what Sunseam says. When he says stop it, you don't even listen to him. One thing I see here it's not really good manners is even for me, if you have a problem with an individual, it's not good to air out your laundry to the public. It's not just bad manners. Think about it. If I have a private problem with you and I start telling everyone else about it, isn't that kind of weird? And wouldn't you be upset by that? Isn't that something that just you and I need to deal with instead of dealing with every single person? right? That's why they call it airing out your laundry in public. Like, there's no need to talk about it in public. That's something you got to figure out, check out to see if it's actually if it's something that is true, right? And if there's a real problem, then go check it out first. But there's a lot of times I look at that as like, yeah, why would people want to air out their laundry like that, right? So that's why for me, I was just like, ugh, that really doesn't make any sense, right? So yeah, it's hard for me to think that these people are really, really, really believe that they're trying to help Providence. Like, that doesn't really make much sense to me, right? So they're, that thing's kind of baffles me to be even in contact with the slanderers and stuff, to give them information so that they can use against us. Does that sound like you're trying to help Providence? No, that's like you're completely against Providence. Not listening to Sunsteam, that sounds like you're against Providence, right? So that's something that I look at and say, okay, that's something that I would definitely look at and say that they're really not helping. What else? One thing I really liked about when it talked about taking action is that the message said that even God has to take action for things to happen. Even God, he's not like he just sits there and everything happens. He has to take action. Oh, another great point was about the pre-dawn. It kind of went into a very detailed, methodical reason why we do pre-dawn. And in the pre-dawn, this is what Sunsteam said. He says, you need to do the work of praying and connecting. Then you can do the next work, which is receiving. And then the next work, which is using. So you see that the pre-dawn is a time of praying and connecting, right? And then once you connect, you can get the next work, which is receiving. So connecting is the first thing at pre-dawn. The next thing is receiving. And then the next work is using. So when I looked at that, I was like, wow, that's a great way to put it, right? Pre-dawn is a time to connect. Because once you connect, then you can receive. And once you receive, then you can use it, which is a better word than taking action, I think. Because we hear the word take action all the time. But I think the word to be able to use what you've been blessed with is a much better way. Why do you do pre-dawn? To connect. Why do you connect? To receive. Why do you receive? So then you can start using what you've received. All right? So I thought that was really deep and detailed. Really, really deep and detailed. All right? I also like this is like a proverb in itself. Just as a drawing is made according to how you draw on a blank canvas, the drawing of your life is made according to your deeds, right? So, I thought that was really deep itself too. There's something that I thought was kind of cool too, which was it talks about things may work out because you act on it. So this is about people who already take action. However, that will end at your level without pertaining to me, God. So if you don't include God, if it's not God's will, no matter what action you take, it ends at that level because it doesn't pertain to God. If you want something to go to God level status, you have to do it together with God. If you take action without checking if it's the will of God, if you don't check with the Holy Spirit of the Lord, then you end up doing it according to your own will and your own volition, right? And such people pertain to the body that ends with themselves, right? So that's something I thought was very good is, some people can take action. Just because you take action doesn't mean you're doing it together with God. You got to check, is this God's will or not, right? Another part that I talked about before is Sunsteam always opening the door for repentance. A long time was given to them to repent. However, they did not, right? Instead, they did those things, those wicked things, as the joy in their life, right? And they even told everyone, boasting that those people are on their side, right? So, as the next part is like some of the other parts is really hard, right? As much as they go about in God's domain, they will receive more suffering, right? They say they did this for providence, but this is just self-justification. They have taken the action themselves, so they cannot lie to themselves. So it's a heavy message, but also there's a lot of mercy and love and hope in there too. And I hope that we'll be able to catch all these things, right? Not just the part that we're like, oh, this is the part that I know. We have to catch everything inside of it too. The judgment's in there, but the mercy's in there too. Okay, so there it is, guys. That is the Wednesday message word study. Hope it's something that you guys enjoyed. If they have any questions or anything else you want to add to it, go ahead and leave it in the comments below, which means we're going to get into the second music break of the day.
Yeah, Providence is true, represents Sierra West Africa.
In 1945, the man on mission was born. 1978, he started his work. He teaches us the word of the time period. We listen to the word and then we realize that finally we have become a bride. We have become a bride. That finally we have become a bride. So now we are raptured.
Now we are raptured. I said bride. Now we are raptured. I said bride. Now we are raptured. I said bride. I met the man on the mission. I heard his word and took action. My spirit is made as a bride. Now we are raptured. Hey. I met this man on the mission. I heard his word and took action. My spirit is made as a bride. Now we are raptured. I said bride. Now we are raptured. I said bride. Now we are raptured. I said bride. Now we are raptured.
I'm a bride, you are a bride. We all are brides, and now I will rapture. Now you will rapture. We all rapture together in this mission. To God be the glory. Here is the time of the bride. The time we need to smile. The time we need to come together and live a life. To God be the glory. Cause now I live a holy. We have to tell a story. Now we have a victory.
Now we are raptured. I said bride. Now we are raptured. I said bride. Now we are raptured. I said bride, now we are raptured. Now we are raptured. I said bride, now we are raptured. I said bride, now we are raptured. I said bride, now we are raptured.
Now we raptured as a bride, put your life on the line. Take the word of the man on mission, put them in your mind. The word we've been waiting for, now is the time. Now is the time we're gonna say.
Now we are raptured. I said bride, now we are raptured. I met the man on the mission. I heard his word and took action. My spirit is made as a bride. Now we are raptured. Hey. I met this man on the mission. I heard his word and took action. My spirit is made as a bride. Now we are raptured. I said bride. Now we are raptured. I said bride. Now we are raptured.
It's Kima on the mix.
Okay, so that was a brand new song that just came out the other day too. That's from the West Africa Church, and that's called the Raptured Brides, I believe, right? Raptured as a Bride. So that's a brand new song that did come out for the West African Church too. So we had two brand new songs come out this week, and more coming out every single week also. Okay, so let's get into the final segment for today's Friday podcast, and of course for the entire week. This is one we've always listened to for over a year now. Daniel Baker doing such an amazing and awesome job as he's working. He's a caddy at the moment, and he's doing just good for himself. I had a good time with him, being able to meet with him last week also. So this is Daniel Baker in Korea, and this is Until the End.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Do It Until the End podcast. I hope everyone is having an amazing week with the Trinity, and let's have an amazing rest of the week together. Now today, I just want to congratulate a couple of artists that I've met in the past in Korea. And I want to congratulate the Sumney Boys, right? The Providence rappers. You know, I really want to congratulate them for the new album that they came out with. And I really want you guys to guess what the album cover name is. I'll give you some time. Guess what the album name is. Okay, yeah. Have you guessed? Okay. Yeah, of course. The album name is Until the End, right? And when I saw this, I was like, man, you know, they know the importance of doing it until the end, right? You know, there's a lot of difficulties in life, but, you know, through those difficulties, we need to do it until the end. And, I really want to encourage you guys to really listen to their album and support the Providence rappers, the Providence singers that are in Providence, because all of their music and all of their focus is giving glory towards God, right? So I really want you guys to support them, give them a lot of love, and let's get into this podcast segment. Now, today we're going to talk about, a really amazing way that God really unexpectedly really made me very energized and happy, right? So today and yesterday was, to be perfectly honest, a pretty rough couple of days, right? And the reason is because I'm doing, so 1 hour or one shift of canning can go for 4 to 5 hours, right? And if you're very unlucky, you have to do it twice, right? And yesterday I did 2 shifts, and today I did 2 shifts. And I was getting very, very tired because it's like 10 hours of running around and interacting with people. And, you get kind of drained from that, right? And today, when I did my shift at canning today, I had the worst experience. Like out of doing canning around 40 rounds for other people, I had a really bad experience because of one person, really. And this person was really got on my nerves, calling me names, telling I did a terrible job. When I realized about it, he was actually the one who kind of misunderstood what I was saying. So maybe it was some of my fault, some of his fault, but he put all the blame on me. So, you're doing a sales job, you're working with people, so I kind of get it. But I was really down, and I kind of realized that, I have one more shift, one more 4 to 5 hour shift, and it's like 7 p.m. at night. And, I was kind of getting down, but unexpectedly, God really, really healed my heart, right? This is a crazy thing where, you have a bad experience and you really pour your heart out to God, and you're like, God, what should I do? And then I kind of realized that I have to, because I'm meeting other people, I'm doing it like a job that, receives money from other people. I have to do a real good job. So I was like, God, it's up in your hands what I do and how well I do the next round. That person that, I didn't enjoy being around, all of my heart and all of my bad experiences I give to you, right? And that's what I kind of felt, and that's what I kind of said going into the last round of canning I had today. And then what God gave me was a miracle, right? What kind of miracle did he give me? So originally I caddy for 4 people, right? And I've always seen other people caddy for 3 people, for 2 people. And those are the best, because that means that your job is actually, the amount of job you need to do is less, right? Caddying for 4 people and caddying for 3 people is way less complicated for caddying for 4 people, right? A lot of less brain power, a lot of less running around. And finally, I got that 3 bag. I got only 3 people on the team, so it was a lot less thinking, a lot less running around, and a lot really good people. So a really good time. And when I saw that I had 3 bags, I was really happy, and I was like, wow, this is God. This is how God really, treats me. And one of the things was like, wow, people really think that it's luck, but in reality, it's actually God's love, right? Because it's crazy how like God can really change your hearts like unexpectedly. Like you're really going down and you really feel bad. You really think you're doing a really bad job, but God can really change your situation in an amazing way. And that's what happened today. And this is 100% not luck, right? When I gave my heart and when I gave the whole situation to God, that's when He blessed me the most, right? So if you guys really have something that you have a negative experience with, or you're having a difficult time letting go of an experience or a grudge against a person, give it all to God. Give all of those thoughts to God, and God really bless you in amazing ways, in ways that you don't even think. Yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. To everyone who is going until the end, let's walk this path together. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye.
And thank you so much, Daniel, for another wonderful episode of Until the End. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Please leave a comment below. Encourage him. Give him some praise. He's doing such an amazing job. So, yeah, Daniel, you're always doing awesome. I'm thankful and grateful for all the work that you've done, all the sharing you've done for all of us, too. All right? So this is it, guys. This is the end of today's Friday podcast. Hope you guys super enjoyed it as much as I had. Have a wonderful and awesome day, and we'll see you guys again on Monday on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and feel your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the Morning Star Drive, you know. I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the Morning Star Drive, you know.